Hey. Welcome, guys. Hope you're having a good Sunday. Let's see, who do we have here today? Hello, welcome, YKH. How are you? I hope you guys are all doing well. Kyle, welcome, Kyle. How are you? Good to see you. Can you guys hear me? Is everything okay? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Are the comments popping up? I just want to make sure everything is fine before we make a start. Am I audible? Am I visible? Can you see me? I think you can, right? Cryptovania, welcome. Hello. Loud and clear. Great. Thank you, Kyle. Cool. Today the topic is something very interesting. Couple of charts, couple of statistics. We'll look at where we are heading to in terms of Bitcoin. Yes, Born Majesty, welcome as well. Good afternoon, guys. Get your cup of tea, glass of water, whatever you're drinking, and we'll make a start shortly. I'll start first by sharing Coinbase Bitcoin Premium, because that's something very important. We are seeing a very clear loss of buying pressure on the Coinbase side. The premium has flipped negative and continues to stay there, as we can see over here for the past 2 weeks. You might ask me why this matters, but it matters because positive premium is showing strong spot demand. That's very bullish. If it's negative, as you can see over here, that is telling us selling pressure dominates in the market. Right now, the market lacks that key spot bid. People who are holding for long term, buying on spot, are missing. For any sustainable upside, the premium needs to reclaim the positive territory, needs to go to the green. And why I'm talking about premium? Because premium Coinbase, that is big money. This is the USA elite who are buying and using Coinbase Premium. And this index is important because we don't need just regular investors like me or you. We need big money that have conviction, and this is what this index is showing us. So until we see this turning into green, it means that every small bounce that we see is likely to be sold into rather than followed through. Until we see that green, there is no hope in the market. And market structure just remains very fragile at this stage until this demand returns. And this demand is not coming back anytime soon. This is where I'm heading to, and this is what I want to tell you and explain to you why. And based on that, you can decide, are you going to invest? Are you going to rotate? Are you going to sell? I will show you a couple of more charts and why. Right now, why I said this demand is not coming back anytime soon, because the macro environment is shifting aggressively. And big part of that is tied to the rising geopolitical tensions and war. That relates to uncertainty. We're seeing US inflation expectations rising to 5.2%. That's the highest in 3 years. While energy prices, specifically gas, have jumped nearly 45% in just 2-3 months' time. Gas, energy, oil, everything is surging. And that's largely driven by supply fears and instability. At the same time, markets are starting to price in the opposite of what everyone expected just days ago. We had the Fed meeting. We talked about one rate cut at that meeting, potentially now, and one in 2027. But unfortunately, something quick the sentiment right now is shifting extremely quick, and we see something very different. Rate hikes are coming instead of cuts, with a 50% probability of a hike by December. And that's massive shift, the fastest change in rate expectations since the COVID era. If we look at, do I have this over here? I want to show you this chart, small chart. So from people saying that we're probably going to have one rate cut, now the sentiment has quickly shifted to rate hike, going to 25 basis points hike, which is completely opposite to what the markets want, completely opposite to what the markets expect. Risk assets are already reacting to this. If we look at the stock market, or even if we look at, let's say, Russell 200, which is Russell 2000, sorry, we need Russell 2000. It has already entered some kind of correction territory. This is an indicator, this is a very good indicator for small market cap stocks. This indicator is now entering one simple indicator. If you look at the S&P 500, we're going to take a look at gold shortly. All these projects, indices are turning negative right now. So Russell 2000 has entered correction territory. Mortgage rates are pushing high to new highs in 2026, and liquidity is tightening extremely fast. Even gold, let's look at gold, which is typically a very bullish asset in such kind of conditions. Everyone is running to gold when we have uncertainty. But what we see right now, even gold, which typically benefits in the situation, is becoming negative. It has retraced almost from $5,500 to $4,500, $1,000 in just a month's time. And this is signaling that markets are positioning safely. Even gold is not seen as safe asset right now. So everyone is running away to cash. They want to position, they want to run away from any kind of risk right now. So basically all of this is telling us only one thing. We are entering a period of tightening financial conditions during this geopolitical stress. And that combination is historically very bearish, not only for gold, but even more for crypto. Now, that's the data so far. Let's see if you guys have any comments before I show you something else. Something else which is again very bearish. I don't want to, make you feel less optimistic here. I just want to tell you what the data is, and you can always make your own judgment if you want to invest, if you want to run to cash, if you want to, go all in. I'm not here to guide your investments, but just to show you the data and help you to make more informed decisions by explaining what that is. Is there any comments so far? Did you guys expect to see rate hike instead of rate cut coming up? Was that something you thought was possible even? I think it has been sort of expected with the inflation rising. What we see now with oil, gas, we would see massive rise in inflation. Any comments? The other bearish news that I want to tell you is Bitcoin OGs. Hike, yes. We're likely going to see, hikes rather than cuts, which, as I said, is not what the markets want, especially crypto. Bitcoin OGs are dumping massively. They sold over 117 million worth of Bitcoin, and that's not panic selling. It's a very calculated move by long-term holders who have survived multiple cycles, who have seen a lot of different conditions, who have held through uncertainty. Now these people have started selling. Early Bitcoin adopters are selling, I think the number is 1,650 Bitcoin in a single day. And these are voluntary sales, not, forced liquidations, not market glitch, not, these are voluntary sales. Market reacted, of course, this with a broader dip, not just Bitcoin, everything else crashed based on that. This sell-off traces back to the Federal Reserve latest decisions that rates are held steady. Not only that, but the Fed also signaled that we're going to see fewer rate cuts than expected, and rates will be kept like this higher for longer. Why this matters for crypto? Simply, high interest rates, safer assets like bonds become more attractive and cash. So investors move away from risk assets like crypto. But what I just told you, just last Wednesday was the Fed meeting. They decided that we're probably going to have one more rate cut. Now, just yesterday, we see different data that is telling us now the market start to price hikes rather than cuts, and that's not the story that we heard last Wednesday. We can see how quick markets move, really. Let's go back to this article. This article is fresh just from yesterday. Investors, they just move away from risk assets. This reduces liquidity and puts downward pressure on prices. And these OGs, these early investors, they reacted to those macro conditions slightly shifting. And as I said, this directly aligns with what the Fed said, and this macro-driven pullback is just telling us that macro conditions, liquidity is tightening, and we'll see a crypto going further down. Now that's the boring part. Now let's go to the actual charts and see what is happening. Before that, see if you guys have any comments. Too much uncertainty out there, definitely. Everything changes day by day, minute by minute, hour by hour. That's why it's very important for you guys to stay informed with the markets, what is happening, and most importantly, why things are happening. Based on that, you can make informed decision. Even today, I recorded a video. You maybe should decide to check my latest YouTube video. This is only for my members because I uploaded the same video on my Discord. I'm a little bit changing my strategy. What is my strategy? In general, I'm pivoting away from small market cap projects at this stage. You can either join Saratoshi Squad on YouTube just for $2.99 a month, or you can join Discord where you can see what I'm selling and what I'm buying, how I'm positioning in the markets right now. But anyway, let me explain to you now the charts. Now, what do we see over here? Let's zoom in a little bit. Right, we are here. Bitcoin at 68K right now. We see that we are coming very close to the lower line over here, which is the lower part of this channel pattern that we see. Now, we had very similar channel just back in December and January. What happened once we broke below this channel? Bitcoin dropped by 20%. Breaking this channel, failing to close above this, created massive selling pressure, and based on that, we see Bitcoin crashing 20%. Now we are coming to the exact same structure 2-3 months later. I'm watching closely Monday. What happens on Monday is very important, because if we close below this lower line over here, we're likely going to see some downwards pressure, selling pressure, which is going to push Bitcoin down to the 50K levels. And I think this scenario is very likely to happen over the next couple of weeks. So Monday close is very important. As soon as we, for example, have one big red candle closing below this line, I can tell you we're probably gonna go further down. Now, why I'm explaining all of this? And I'll show you something else on the other side of this. This is exactly bringing us to where I think we're going to find the bottom, around the 50. In the range from 50 to 50, I think 59 is a little bit over, but the bottom probably would be somewhere between 55 and 50k for me, personally, how I see it. Now, if I zoom out a little bit here and I go to back to 2022 bear market, we had the same structure. We had double top, as you see over here. We have the same double top in the cycle back last year. Then we moved down. We have the same channel pattern over here, rising channel. Once we broke below this channel, we had a crash down, crash of 30%. This time our crashes are a little bit smaller, of 20%, but very similar structure. Then we came to the other channel, exactly the same structure, which I think if we compare both cycles, we are here right now. If we now translate this back to 2022, we are exactly, our channel that we have right now is this channel over here. And then as soon as we broke below this channel, we saw further selling pressure of 30%. And that crashed Bitcoin to 18k. In our case, we're probably going to go to the 50s. Very identical pattern that we have right now. If we don't, close immediately over here, we're probably going to see some kind of relief rally going back to the 70s. But as soon as we close below this channel, we are very likely going further downside. And that's supported by what we see right now with inflation, rate hikes, with long-term holders selling Bitcoin. Overall, the picture is looking bearish rather than bullish, in my opinion. Do you guys agree with what you see over here? That we're probably going to go down to the 50s very soon. I think sooner than we expect, to be honest. Sooner than we expect. I'm going to keep DCAing and hold cash for other buying opportunities. Sounds like a good strategy. Get those yes, guys, please. Like, share, subscribe, whatever. Thank you, Born Majesty. Ken Williams. Ouch, ouch. Indeed. Indeed. I'm saying the same thing. Yes, based on that, as I told you guys, you can join us on Discord. Let me share with you the links. If you join on Discord, you would actually see my strategy and how I'm repositioning in the markets. In short term, I'm actually pivoting away from any kind of small market cap projects. If you join on Discord, you get to receive the latest news related to crypto, whether that's in economic aspect, political aspect, it all comes to Discord in real time. You don't have to go outside of my Discord to update yourself. Very good news come to us. You get to see what I buy, what I sell, how I position myself. We catch new projects very early. If you've been following me, I was one of the first people to buy Sui at 40 cents, Deep Book as well, Protocol. Aster, I caught it at 40, 50. I don't know what the price currently of Aster is, but I have an alert on my Discord selling it for 3x. I catch projects very early, and this is my strategy in crypto, and this is how I make money. If you want to have access to all those picks, feel free to join us on Discord. Good community, some experienced investors, others complete beginners. Surely you can find the right spot for yourself and just blend in with the community. Now, let's go back to the charts. Let's just see in the meantime any comments. Why didn't we get altcoin season when Bitcoin? Because, first of all, the market is extremely saturated right now. So many projects and liquidity is so thin and it's spread all across thousands of projects. It's not like in previous cycles. In previous cycles, you got how many projects? Like less than what we have right now for sure. And money was flowing in a couple of projects that everyone knew. Nowadays, you have millions of projects. All of those are turning to be scams. So money just can't, like, there is no enough liquidity for all these projects. And we can see some projects, in fact, did pretty well last cycle. No, last cycle, this cycle, we had a good pump for SUI. SUI went from 40 cents to $5. Solana went to $200. XRP had a good pump. Let's actually look into those. Solana had a decent pump. But we didn't see the altcoin season we were expecting. In previous cycles, we had full blown off season. Everything went up massively. This time, only some projects pumped here and there. And that's because Bitcoin took almost most of the liquidity. Now we have institutions that they're very selective with where they invest. And usually, money followed their investments. They invested in projects like SUI, Solana, so those went up a little bit. But not as much as we wanted to and we were expecting to. This is what happened, unfortunately. And this is what I think will continue happening. Only very certain projects will be successful in crypto, not all of them like before. Only a handful of those that you can see on CoinMarketCap. The first 50 maybe. Those that have some good fundamentals, good tech, that are fast, that are scalable, but not everything. Everything else is bullish for a couple of days, maybe weeks, and then we see projects being scams and dumping. When do you think the altcoin season starts? I think we are very far from the altcoin season. If you guys go and watch the replay of this, I said that the situation is not very bright. I think Bitcoin will crash to the 50s sooner than we expect. You can watch the replay why I'm saying this. And if Bitcoin crashes by another 20%, I can tell you, expect altcoins to lose 99% of their value. Be ready to go through this volatility. And through the downside, watch your portfolio in red. It will happen. So I don't think we are anytime close to an altcoin season. It doesn't mean that partial projects here and there would not have small runs because of news, because of some development, because of integrations. Yes, we can see projects, for example, Tao. Tao is one good example. Market is red, but Tao is doing pretty well. Why? Because it was recently mentioned. So it has technology. Technology is their solid project. AI, there is a lot of hype around AI in general. But also it was recently mentioned in a conference by the NVIDIA CEO as solid investment product and project. So that caused a small pump in Tao. So there will be some pumps here and there, but the full blown off season, altcoin season, is not coming soon, in my opinion. Probably I would say this year is accumulation year. We would see projects going further down. Next year, we might see accumulation starting to accelerate. But probably in the third and fourth year, this is where we would see then altcoins fully waking up. So not in this year and probably not even half of next year. Maybe after that. Tao, yeah, I was just talking about Tao. Tao is doing great. Very good. But of course, now a lot of you will probably start jumping on Tau. Wait for some kind of pullback. Don't, it's already increased a little bit. It's already up. What's the percentage? Tau is up maybe around 20% over the past month. Wait and invest in a pullback. Also, Caspa is holding very strong. I was telling you guys, Caspa will start performing very well once we enter a bear market. Caspa goes in a very different direction to the rest of the market. It's doing its own thing. When everything is pumping, Caspa was, crashing, as you can see. It did well back in 2024. Since then, it's been in a downtrend. And now we see Caspa waking up when everything else continues to go down. Caspa does its own thing, and it's a very good project to own. Not only for today, but for tomorrow. Because the team of Caspa is building for tomorrow, not for today. They are thinking ahead. They're building something that no other project does. How do you feel about Solana? I love Solana. Those who follow me, I'm a Solana holder. I think this project is great. It's the best for, retail investors love Solana. Institutions love Solana. And the team is working hard, making improvements. Yes, we've seen some crashes, big crashes. But that was at the start of the cycles where there were tokens to be unlocked. Now almost everything is in circulation. So we're not going to see the big drops that we've seen in the past. So definitely I'm bullish on Solana. If you're thinking which project to invest into and you want something that's pretty big market cap, at the same time it has potential to go to the upside, definitely I would recommend Solana. After Bitcoin, Solana is one of my biggest bags. Thoughts on the 4-year cycle? I can say that, well, see, I have two opinions here. The first one is that now we have ETFs, we have institutions in the place, in the space. So the 4-year cycle is no longer what it used to be. We didn't even see a full altcoin season based on the 4-year cycle, right? We had a very disappointing out season. But at the same time, when you go to the weekly chart, we see this cycle playing out exactly the same way that it has played in the past. We are exactly following the 4-year cycle, with the crash was expected to happen in October, November, around this time, and it happened exactly that. Exactly at that time we had the top. I don't know if I have the chart loaded over here. Let's see. The chart that is showing us $370 days. Okay, I'll make sure I find it and I share it later. But yeah, we see the 4-year cycle playing out exactly as it has been played so far, with the drop happening at the exactly expected time, around October. It happened indeed. So as much as I want to say that the 4-year cycle is no longer valid because of the reasons I just said, we have institutions, ETFs, we didn't see the altcoin season happening. The Bitcoin crash happened exactly at the expected time of the 4-year cycle. 2027. Yes, I think we're gonna become bullish and altcoins would start waking up in 2027. Unless we see some kind of economy stimulus of what is happening right now, the war, high inflation, high prices, unless US starts to somehow stimulating the economy, we see cheap money, This could potentially bring the outgoing season early, but there is no signs for this as of now. Do you think C is a good buy? Yep, let me share with you why. I'm gonna open this chart here. C. You can see over here my buy zone for my Discord and myself has been over here in the past. On my Discord, we caught C down here. Started from here, then I outlined this as potential good buy zone. On this retrace, bought back in. And then we saw C, and this is here where I've highlighted this was my sell zone. The alerts are on Discord. So definitely now we are coming back to this zone, and I've been giving on my Discord entry signals over here. Definitely very good time to buy C. As I said, I expect another crash in Bitcoin, which will push all the altcoins further down, and C is no exception from this. C would go down more than this, potentially coming back to the 40, maybe over here. Let me draw the path for you. We're probably going to see something like this. And we can see, but again, that's not a guarantee. So the best strategy would be for you to buy here, first buy, and then once it comes down here, you do a second buy to reduce your average. But definitely C is at a very good buy price right now. They're doing a lot of improvements, a lot of developments to ETFs. At such an early stage, C is a project since 2024. Already 2 ETFs. Imagine. Usually liquidity from Bitcoin flows to altcoins, but this time it didn't happen. Exactly. That's what I was trying to explain. We didn't see the proper cycle this time. Yes, Bitcoin had its run, very good run from 60k to 126k, but altcoins didn't do so well. Only some projects here and there, like I gave example with C. Is it possible in future when ample liquidity enters the market? For sure, if we have cheap money, if we see a lot of money coming into the space, fresh money, of course altcoins would do well. No doubt, and this is what everyone is waiting for. Fresh money, new investors, and most importantly, cheap money. But it's not so easy. Look at the conditions that we have nowadays. War is ongoing, price is going up, so even from psychological point of view, no one wants to risk. No one wants to take any kind of risk. Everyone wants safety. ICP. Ken, I'll have to disappoint you here, unfortunately. ICP is not a project that I like. It doesn't mean it's a bad one as technology, it's fine. But I explained that in the previous live stream as well. At the release of this project, it had very massive dumping, not from investors, but from smart investors, the so-called insiders. When project was released, we see massive dump, and that broke the trust of everyone, all the investors. When trust is broken, it's not easy to fix it. Once you see this kind of selling, I personally wouldn't want to go back once I knew that the team and insiders dumped on me. And this is what happened to ICP, unfortunately. You can see the big candles over here. Once it was released, since then, massive dumping. And project has been pretty dead since then, you can see. The chart speaks for itself when it comes to ICP. Good start for an hour, after that massive selling to the downside. I personally don't think ICP ever even going to $80. For me, this project is pretty dead. If you want something similar to ICP in the AI narrative, go for Tau. Go for Tau, much safer, better performance, better team, better chart, even if you wish. Go for Render, another great AI project. Look at the chart. Go for Near if you want. So you have a lot of choices, but if you're already invested into ICP and you know something more than me, okay, stick to it. Hold through the turbulence, the volatility. But if you are actually thinking to invest right now, I would say stay away from ICP. You have better projects to invest into. Thanks, Sarah. You are welcome. Of course, this is just my opinion and what I think. You should always do your own research. You probably know something more than me, or you have conviction in that. You shouldn't be, your investment shouldn't be influenced by what I say and I think. But I just think that there are better projects out there, especially in the AI sector. If you wish Siren, this has been skyrocketing. Whoever invested in that at an early stage is lucky. Like, look at this. Just in 24 hours, you see massive spike. I know how many X that is. Wow, amazing. So I personally wouldn't run after this project now to chase it. It's already a little bit late for me. It's again AI kind of agent. Has the meme hype about it. I do like it, but unfortunately a little bit late for this. I do own Tau. That's great. Very good choice. I think Tau is probably one of the best AI projects. And the target for Tau to go back to the previous all-time high at $800 is achievable. I believe Tau can achieve that. So it's around like 3x from the current, or 4x from the current price. Yes, Siren is crazy. Honestly, it did so well. I even regret for not investing in it this morning. I was looking at it at 90 cents. 90 cents in the morning over here. Now in the afternoon, it is $2. You can see the last 24 hours has been explosive for Siren. You talk about which coin, Sam? Welcome. Hello, hello. No, I've never talked about Siren. I've only watched it before in my own time, but I never bought it. I never talked about it. Just because right now, when I look at it, like AI agents is a hot narrative, but at that time it was pretty small market cap, and I think the environment right now is not so so positive to invest into small market cap projects, because those are high risk. They're high reward, high risk, but how many of them actually make such jumps in 24 hours? Very rarely. Most of them just go to zero eventually. So I was a little bit cautious. I sold my Tao. Be careful with swing trading. You might miss the train. I have mantle. Mantle. They have migrated. Chart looks alright. Listed almost everywhere on chain ecosystem. Not bad. DeFi project. Not bad. Probably a good one. Thank you. Thank you for the kind words. 2 days ago you added it to your watch list, really? Well, you should have both, not just adding it into your watch list. But as I said, who knew that we would see this kind of candle? Nobody knew. It's very difficult to predict these kind of moves. And very few people would have the conviction to actually hold this project from 0.60 cents to the price right now. Very few. Anyway, there will be a lot of other opportunities in the space. It's not the first one, neither the last one. So don't, feel regret. Don't chase hype. Just relax and you'll find another opportunity. Alright, let's see. Any more comments? Anything else that you guys want to add? If not, we'll call it a day here. Watch the replay if you came in later. As I said, I think we're gonna go much lower than we are right now for Bitcoin, and the altcoins will follow this move. Watch the replay, you understand who is selling